so I'm in the IT space and started my company 20 years ago. So what we do is manage services, and what that means is that organizations, big Fortune 1000 companies, would utilize my company to outsource specific functions in the IT space within their companies. So thank you for having me here.
Hi, I'm Dana Hall. Thanks for having me. One thing that I wish I mentioned when I introduced myself initially was I am also a GBS grad, graduated in 1995. Interesting how so much of this building has not changed since then. So I'm a tax partner at Ernst & Young, which is a Big Four public accounting firm. Generally what I do and my teams do is we help structure transactions to help minimize tax. So generally speaking, when one company buys another company or a company is looking to sell off part of their business, there are tax consequences, and I help structure those transactions to make sure that they are tax efficient, so they pay less tax.
Good morning, ladies. My name is Corinne Heggie, proud Lumber South grad. I'm not going to be brave and give the year. I want to thank Michael McFadden for having us here today and for bringing this great idea. I think I share Rachel's sentiment when being here this morning is extremely energizing for me, and I'm sure for all the other professionals in the room. So I'm an equity partner, which means I have a business stake. My bottom line is vested in a law firm located in Northbrook. And our law firm is 4 lawyers and 1 support staff. So we have a smaller footprint than Rachel and Dana's company. And what we help do is meet with people to make sure that their hard-earned assets, their money, their wealth, their property, their real estate, goes to the people and the organizations and the places they wanted to if they get sick or they're no longer walking the earth. We also help companies put together deals to buy property, to sell their business, to make changes to their business. And then we can also go to court if something goes wrong with the business deal or if someone didn't plan to get their hard-earned assets to the right person and they don't want the state to have to decide.
So I apologize to tables 1 through 4 because you guys kind of already got an overview of what I do. My name is Veronica and I am in-house counsel for IDEX Corporation. Now what that means in non-legal speak is essentially I am an attorney for a company. My sole client is the company, and my sole goal in life for that company is to make sure that company does not get sued. Right? That's what it means in a summary, in a nutshell. And so my specialty is labor and employment. So I deal specifically with wage and hour issues, so people don't feel like they're getting paid overtime. And more importantly for me, and what I love to do most, is discrimination and sexual harassment and harassment. So if people feel like they've been harassed or discriminated against, my job is to ensure that's #1 not happening and to investigate any complaints that come my way.
My name is Karen Schwartz, and thank you guys so much for having me. I really wish that they had this when I was in high school. It just is so cool to do something entrepreneurial for young women. So you guys are really great. I run a real estate group, so there's so many different facets of real estate. So it's anywhere from finding land for developers so that when they're going to build a new home development, so we'll bring that land to the developers and then build the developments on there and sell those projects. Same thing with high rises downtown, so we'll kind of sell some of those new construction projects downtown as well. So we work both in the city and the suburbs. It also is if you wanted to rent an apartment after you graduate college, we would help you find a rental, buy your home, sell your home. So we kind of do all different facets of anything related to real estate. So it's exciting and always something different every day. So thanks again for having us.
Okay, so now that we've heard what all of you do, and every one of you has quite a fascinating job that's in your description kind of gives us a little insight into all the different aspects of your area. I'm intrigued to know, when you were in high school, what did you think you were going to do, and how did you end up going from that to where you are today?
So yeah, I, as I was going around to all the various tables, everybody has a story, right? So there's so much pressure today, I think, and a misperception that people become overnight successes, right? So when I went to Regina, so, and when I graduated from Regina, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So and I always like to mention this because, again, we all have a story, and I always, you know, we can all relate to sometimes everything isn't always perfect. But, so when I got out of school in my younger years, finances were kind of tough. What was really calling to me in terms of what I wanted to pursue was, I wanted to make money, guys. I was all about, like, what is the best profession or industry that I can be in to make money? The other thing I wanted to do is that when I was in high school, and it's very important that even though you're young, you're walking in and we live in an incredible community. This is a community that is so blessed that you have a chance to meet individuals like ourselves. You might have friends that parents are successful. People are always watching you, right? They're always seeing how you're making choices and decisions. And so I had the opportunity at Regina to meet a gentleman who was an executive vice president, was my girlfriend's father, and he opened up the door to me. He's like, Rachel, you know, you're a good kid. My mom was a single parent, and said, hey, when you graduate from high school, you know, look me up and I'll get you a job. And the company that he worked for was Fort Howard. So I always thought I'm a people person. I love people. That calls always had to be in my heart. I wanted to be in an industry that involved people and that I could impact people. So as a result, I'm like, all right, well, I'll get into sales. So coming out, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, guys. I was just navigating through all these different, and I tried things and I failed, and I tried things, and I'm like, ooh, I'll try this, I'll try that, and that's where I ended up being an entrepreneur because I surrounded myself with other entrepreneurs, and I thought, you know what, it'd be kind of fun to own my own business. So after working at a number of different companies, you know, my friend at the time, who was Greg Canning, who's now my husband and business partner, we decided to take the leap of faith and start a company. And so here we are, you know, 20 years later, owning our organization. So that's sort of in a very short, because, you know, I'm a talker, so that's how it kind of all evolved and started.
How about you, Dana?
I kind of feel like I'm the weird one. So it was really nice at one of my tables, Christina had mentioned how common it is and natural it is for people to, A, not know what they want to do when they come out of high school or college, and for people to even have career changes 10 years down the road after they're out of college or their master's. And I'm the weird one. I kind of always knew what I wanted to do. And I think it's just because I was exposed to it, right? I mean, my dad did exactly what I do. So one of the things that we talked about at one of the tables was that I always saw myself, when I grew up, that I would work in an office. Not that I really do that anymore because I'm a consultant and I'm in everybody else's office. But I would work in an office and I would have a suit on, which is funny because when I was growing up and my dad would take me to his office, it wasn't like there were any women walking around that weren't secretaries. But still, it was something that I saw my dad do and I wanted to do it. I was good at math. I was interested in law. And like Rachel, I wanted to deal with people. And so going into tax consulting was something that I knew about, I thought I could be good at, and therefore I did. But honestly, I'm the weird one, I promise you.
And you're lucky.
I wouldn't say weird, I would say lucky. It's like a calling. So I would have to say in high school, I don't know that I knew what I wanted to do, but I know two things to be true. There wasn't a course that I couldn't take here that would expose me to something that if I had a curiosity about it. And there was never any instructor here, be it a coach or a teacher, that made me think because I was a woman, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. That was something that I don't think I realized was unique until I got into the workforce. I had it at home. My parents never, I was in a house, I have 5 siblings, boys and girls. No one was ever treated differently. You work hard, you show up, and you give your best effort. At this building, that was absolutely the case. And I have to believe that in the 90s, that was the case. It's still the case today, as proof by this breakfast being here. So I didn't know that I wanted to go into law, but I knew I had exposure to all different classes here. AP, non-AP alike. I mean, I love to read, so I did a lot of reading. The one thing I didn't do and I would regret it was debate, and that was my own fault because I think I just selected myself out that's a whole nother story. But there's everything here, and so don't be afraid, because you can expose yourself to anything in this building, probably more so now with all the course offerings. And so I just found my way, always knowing that I never had this sense that I couldn't do anything, and it really wasn't until I showed up in the workforce that that became kind of, that lens came over my eyes. So just lean in and take the opportunities here, because you have opportunities, and to Rachel's point, I don't think you understand, and now I sound old, how many opportunities you do have in this building, and they're unique, and they do not happen in every community in this country, certainly not in this world we live in.
So I always thought I was going to be an actress, and my parents always told me I was going to be a doctor. So that's what those were my two competing worlds, right? My parents, since I was 5, was like, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a doctor, right? So I went to undergrad thinking, okay, well, I have to be a doctor, right? Because I was raised being told I was going to be a doctor, but I'm also going to do something else. So I went to undergrad going as an MD, JD. I was going to be a doctor lawyer. Needless to say, I'm not a doctor lawyer, I'm just a lawyer. But yeah.
Don't say just.
But I'm sure each of us in this room has a story about what our parents expect us to become, what others expect us to become, but really you have to figure out what you want to become, right, despite the external pressures. And even though I still love acting and still love going to theater, I get to enjoy that as an attorney, because I get to speak to people and I get to be on stage, and when I was arguing motions, I got to argue motions, which was always fun for me. So I get that theatrical part in, but I'm also doing something that I really love and fighting what I like to call a good fight. So do what you think you want to do based on what you know about yourself. Nobody knows you like you know you. So don't worry about everybody else. I know the story. I thought I was going to be a doctor because that's what I was indoctrinated since I was 5. So.
Similarly, I had no idea what I wanted to do in high school, and actually, I think not even in college, and even after working for a couple of years, I still don't think that I was fully knew that this is what I wanted to do, was be in real estate. And so I went back to grad school while working and did my MBA, and then I kind of realized along the way different opportunities presented themselves, and I really did enjoy real estate. But I think too, you're going to be a different person from the time you're now, like a freshman in high school, senior in high school, college, after college. So I think you have to kind of figure out what you like and what you're good at. And I think always things like, I knew I wanted to help people, and I also knew that I wanted to make money, similarly to what Rachel had said initially. So I kind of wanted to combine those two things, and always kind of stood true to having a hard work ethic, and figuring out kind of what I was good at and what I wasn't good at, because then you can kind of maximize those strengths and sometimes minimize those weaknesses, so you can figure out what you enjoy and what you kind of want to do along the way. But I was always nervous, in high school and college, because I was oh my gosh, how do these people know what they want to do? And I have no idea. And then I got lucky and was able to make a career out of something that I really enjoy doing. And it's kind of both things, helping people and enjoying life.
So I think this is a great segue into the next thing I was wanting to ask our panel, but I think there's so much pressure on kids in high school and college and particularly now, to get good grades so that you can apply for the best school and know exactly what you want to do. And it's pressure about what you are going to be, and it's more about be the person you want to be and figure out what you want to do, because it will fall into place, as you were just saying. So I'm curious and I'll start with Dana this time. What would you say are characteristics that you think are prevalent among successful women?
Never take no for an answer. Be present and be heard. I think that, so one of the things that I do kind of on the side, but within my job, is I help facilitate these sessions called Power Up Sessions, and we do them with companies all over the country. And it's about women and helping them succeed. And I think that there are a lot of characteristics that we as women show that men do not. And I think it's really important to be aware of those and make sure that you are thinking about them and portraying your best possible self. For instance, women apologize too much. I'm sorry, I have a question. Why are you sorry? Right? Women speak too quietly. This is a very large generalization. But making sure that you are present and you are heard, and when you show up, you are there for a reason, I think is something that's very important to be successful as a woman.
Yeah, I would echo everything that Dana said. I think women who are successful, they stick their hand up. They put their hat in the ring and they make the decision to join the conversation, to take the job, sometimes, take on the extra task. I also think women that are successful look back behind them and they help pull women behind them up. Not in a showy way, but just give the opportunity. And it can be in small ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be in giving them the assignment or bringing them along to the client pitch or to the meeting. It can be sitting in the meeting and looking at that young woman and knowing, because you've had that feeling yourself, that they have something to add to the conversation, and simply saying, Kilby, what do you think on this idea? Or Sarah, what do you think? I think they're very, they're mindful of people around them, and that's kind of an esoteric concept, but I think they're very mindful of the situation, not only the men in the room, the women in the room, but the women who are behind them, because they got to where they got from an opportunity. Maybe from a woman, maybe from a man, it doesn't matter. They took the opportunity, but they're very good about reaching back and bringing people and women, most importantly, along with them.
Yes, I have to echo everything my colleagues said up here. Also, don't be a potted plant, right? Your opinion matters. You add value to the conversation. So if you're in a room, you're asked to be in a room with people, make your opinion heard. Obviously do it respectfully and professionally, but don't just be silent.
Said everything. Yeah, having a hard work ethic, and sometimes you have to work a little bit extra hard, but I do think, luckily society has come a little bit of a further way since maybe we were in high school and college, and so hopefully there's better opportunities, and you might have to work a little bit extra harder to get a certain position or whatever, but like Corinne said, I think, lifting women up and supporting your peers or people that you know that you can support when you get into a position to help somebody else out, I think that will continue to, develop women entrepreneurs and make us all successful.
Rachel, anything to add?
No, I would agree. I mean, be you, be you, be you, be you. Own who you are. Your good, colorful, crazy self, own who you are. Pitch your ideas, absolutely, with all these ladies had said, have a voice. Don't be, sometimes I know that I've been in situations in a very male-dominant field that, men get very alpha, and that's just them being insecure. And sometimes when people posture themselves in those ways, have a voice. It's very important to have a voice. And I think that we're in an era now that so many more women have voices. No is no.
Right. I do want to point out, this isn't a male bashing session, by the way. I mean, all of us, I think we're speaking on being strong and be dominant or speak your mind and be who you are. But, the other part of that, is you also, to take some of the comments that our panel have said, you have to flex your style and work with different types of people in any line of business that you're in. So be who you are. Try not to be intimidated by someone who perhaps is being an alpha, whether that's a male or a female. You've got to try to figure out how to flex your style and maybe be understanding and compassionate that maybe the reason this person is behaving that way is because of some insecurity. So we're the best between you by working through some of the differences that you may have. So everybody here, and I want to be able to leave a little time for questions, but all of you have very busy careers, and I'm pretty sure everybody has children. So I would like to hear how, and actually, even if you don't have children, I'm intrigued to know how you manage your work-life balance so that you are, not doing too much of one, and you're able to smell the daisies along the way. But also, how are you, managing that and able to do it all? And because that's one of the things I feel sometimes people think, I can't do that because I want to have a family, or I want to, I want to be able to travel. I don't want to be stuck working, 70-hour week. So if you guys could talk a little bit to your sort of how you manage work-life balance and are able to do the things you want to do in your personal life and your business life and still be successful in both. Why don't we start with Kareem?
Sure. So I don't think you can have it all of the time, and you just have to be kind to yourself. I have to remind myself to do this. I mean, there's some days like today, I will probably not see my kids before they go to bed, and that's fine because I'll see them tomorrow. It's quality, not quantity. So as long as you're kind to yourself and know that you might be in a busy patch and something's got to give, right? That's okay because it's a cycle. Your career is a marathon, not a sprint. There's going to be ebbs and flows. The other thing is about choices. That's it. I mean, you're making choices today. You make choices in a partner. You make choices in a business partner and a life partner. It's just about choices. And you have to prioritize what's important to you. And not everything, I think there's going to be a core set of values that are you, they make you run, they make you are who you are. And so that'll be a constant theme throughout what you do professionally and personally. But maybe you can't get to the gym today, so that's okay. But maybe you need to go tomorrow because it's going to be a long day, and that tough client's coming in the afternoon. And if you've just been able to ride for 45 minutes and take the edge off, you're going to have a better, more productive meeting in the afternoon. It's just really about choices. And I have to say, because I am married, I have a wonderful partner in my husband. So I guess just choose wisely. That is a choice you're going to make. Because I think people can change, but you want someone who's going to support you on the small stuff and support you in your decisions if you want to go back to school, if you want to take a new job, if you need to make a pivot at work. Those decisions, they're your decisions, but you gotta read the room and read the person you're in a relationship with if you find yourself in that, because that's telling. And I know there's a lot of people that do have that, but I know a lot of people don't. And I'm one of the people who does have a true partner in my husband.
Yeah, so there's this book called I Know How She Does It, and it's one of those self-help books. I have mixed feelings. I'm sort of ambivalent towards self-help books, but I actually think this one's really good. And it talks about, it's a woman who actually interviews, I think it's over hundreds, I don't know exactly the number, of women who make over 6 figures and who have a family, right? I don't have children, but I thought it was interesting to me because eventually that's something I'd like to do down the road. And what she does and what many successful women do is look at their days in mosaics of time, right? Mosaics of 30-minute blocks. And so even, let's say you work 70, 80 hours, which is really a lot to be working, and account for 8 hours of sleep, you still have 56 hours in your week or something, around 50 hours a week, to do the things you love and to spend time with the people you love. So take advantage of that time. Really make every mosaic of 30 minutes, every 30-minute segment work, right? Make sure you're not just mindlessly watching TV. I mean, you guys have fun, right? Enjoy yourself. You're in high school, live. But when you start getting older and when you have to really start prioritizing your time, make it valuable, right? Don't just waste your time watching TV. And I've definitely done that. So I've definitely binge watched my fair share of Downton Abbey. But be cognizant about how you're choosing to spend your time, because you can waste a lot of time without knowing that you're wasting time.
I do not have children, and I'm not married, so I might have taken working too hard to the extreme, so life has not granted me Mr. Right just yet. But I think, it's work-life balance is a challenge, and that's why I think you have to constantly be reminded of it. And for me, real estate, my business it's very cyclical and it ebbs and flows and it's kind of like a roller coaster. So for those super, super busy times where I know like my clients need me or whatever, when I'm going to be busiest, I do work those that much harder. For the times where it's slower, you have to figure out, okay, because I'm very close with my family and I have 2 nephews that I love and I like to travel and I enjoy spending time with my friends. So for me, like trying to figure it out so you don't go crazy and so you have like the mental health to kind of keep you going and keep you enjoying what you do and your friends and family and being the best person for you around is best. So I'm probably a bad person to answer this question, so I'll leave it to some people who have husbands and children.
Rachel?
It's hard. It sucks. I'm just gonna be real. It is, it's hard. And there's a couple of things that I know we're probably on time, so I'm gonna touch on a couple of things. I'm gonna say, if you don't wanna get married, it's okay. If you don't wanna have kids, listen to your heart, it's a tough job. In terms of as females and as women, be kind to the women that choose to raise their families at home, because there's always debates. There's the city mom, there's a suburban mom, and we all battle each other. There's the working mom, there's a non-working mom, and then sometimes there's battlings with each other. But at the end of the day, I always want to be an advocate to say, guys, let's all support each other. If someone chooses to raise their family, good for them, and let's applaud that. If a woman decides to work outside of the home, good for them, let's applaud that as well. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. Anything that's worthwhile in life is going to be hard. Absolutely. Because it's a lot easier to just sit back and binge and watch 8 hours of TV than actually going out there and execute and act on something. So at the end of the day, you just got to navigate that. And that's just the raw truth. I mean, I think all moms, working moms, we all get together. If we have to work out and we want to, I'm doing it at 5 a.m. in the morning if I want to get out there and have my me time. So you just got to figure it out. And it's going to be tough. I mean, and I think that people, and absolutely I would agree in terms of partnership, be very cautious about the partner that you pick, because that's what's very difficult is that, a career, somebody's got to trump somewhere. So there's always got to be a give and take. So I would just suggest to you guys that not everybody's meant to be a parent, and don't think that you have to fall into that whole like, oh my God, but I don't want kids, am I weird? No, you're not. Good for you, because there's a lot of kids out there that are lost that, it can be challenging. But you can do it. It's doable. J-Lo does it. Do you guys know who J-Lo is?
So when I think about it, I think there's 3 things. Maureen so articulately said the 2 big ones. The whole, you can have it all, you need to kind of throw that out the window, right? If on a scale of 1 to 10, if you think that you can be the best worker you can be and the best mom you can be at the same time, you need to stop that. Because there's only 24 hours a day and it's not possible. Life is like this, as a parent, as a worker, as an owner of a business, whatever it is. It all goes like this, and you're not at the high point of both pretty much at any time in your life. So understand that.
But even if you stay home full time, it's not like that either.
Totally agree. Just life is like that, right? It's ebbs and flows,
yep.
right? And then the other thing is the partner. I agree. I'm also lucky enough to have a partner in life who's super supportive. And now, actually, my husband stays home with the kids, and I work. But that only started like a year and a half ago. And so before that, both my husband and I had pretty high-powered careers. We were working a lot. And outside the support of my husband, I think it's really important, which is my 3rd thing, is having a good support system. Knowing that if you have kids and you both have meetings to go to, that there's somebody that you can lean on, especially if the kids aren't school age yet. My parents still live in Northbrook, so they were available if I needed them. I have a really good close friend who's a chef, and so she generally works in the evenings. So I can remember both my husband and I had a meeting in the morning, and I call up my friend Malia, and my older one was in school, but my younger one wasn't in school yet, and I was like, can you watch Zach for like 3 hours this morning, please? And she was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I did the same thing for her, right? So having that support system, it isn't just you and your partner or just you on an island, right? Making sure you use your community, your friends and your family really helps.